Hello, my name is Robert Larson. I'm an attorney and I'm also the owner of the Larson Law Office, and I focus my work primarily on estate planning and family law. Today I want to talk about a topic that comes up somewhat frequently in family court, although it is outside the typical divorce or custody cases, and what I'm talking about is third-party visitation. And if you're wondering what third-party visitation is, well, most people refer to it as grandparent visitation, although that's not technically correct. So basically, Arizona law does provide a way where people who are not legal parents to children can sometimes get visitation rights. And so most of the time, it's grandparents who, for whatever reason, aren't being allowed to see their grandchildren, and so they petition the court to get some visitation with them. And so that's why a lot of people refer to it as grandparent visitation. And technically, the law does not require that it has to be a grandparent. It could be other relatives or sometimes even someone who's not a blood relative. So the law can be a little bit tricky when you look at that. So you have to get someone who understands the law carefully if you're going to petition for third-party rights. And there's a couple things I want to point out about it. So first of all, I'm using the word visitation very specifically here. So people say visitation frequently when they're referring to parents, like a father might say, I want to have visitation with my children, or a mother may say the same thing, or they may say, well, I want the other parent to have visitation with the kids. But the thing is, under Arizona law, parents don't have visitation with their own children. You don't visit your children. You have parenting time with them. So you're a parent to your children. And so it may seem like semantics, but there is a difference. You have more rights as a parent than non-parents for obvious reasons. And so visitation is a lesser right than parenting time. And so the law is very specific about saying whether it's a grandparent or anyone else, if you get rights as a third party, or in other words, a non-legal parent, it's visitation and not parenting time. So you're not equal. You're not on equal standing to a parent. Another thing I want to point out is if you do get visitation, you're not going to get the type of time that a parent gets. So if for whatever, let's say you have a situation where the children live with the mother and the father's out of the picture. Either he's passed away, or he's just, maybe he's homeless and not seeing the kids, or just has no interest in seeing the kids. For whatever reason, the father is absent in the kids' lives, and the father's parents want to get visitation with the kids because the mother won't allow any contact. If they petition the court and are successful, the court is not going to give them the time that the father would have had if he were around and using the time that would have been available to him. The grandparents will get some rights to see the children, but it's not a substitute for the parent. It would be, it might be one Saturday a month or every other month, or it's not a situation where you fill in for the parent who's absent for whatever reason. And so that's another thing to keep in mind. Also, just because you're related as a grandparent or great-grandparent or aunt or uncle or whatever, doesn't mean that you automatically would get visitation rights. There are still some criteria that you have to overcome. There are some things that you have to prove, and I'm not going to get into too much of that detail right now, but you still have to show that it's in the best interest overall for the children to have visitation with you. And the law also says if the parents are objecting to it, then you really have a high hurdle to overcome. And it can be overcome. I've had cases where it's been successful, and despite the parents having objections, the court has granted visitation with family members because the law recognizes that it's a positive thing for the children to continue to have a relationship with that other side of the family. However, it is a difficult thing to overcome. And so you either want to either prepare yourself very well for that, or you want to get an attorney who's very experienced in third-party visitation cases if you're going to seek those type of rights. The other thing I wanted to point out is it's also possible that a third party can ask for legal decision-making rights, or in other words, custody. And so this is an even higher hurdle to overcome. It's very difficult to get this, but under certain circumstances, it can happen. But to be successful in that type of situation, you essentially have to prove that there is no parent who is capable of taking care of the children. So in other words, the parents who are around and available to take care of the children would have to be proven to be unfit. And so that's a really high hurdle to overcome. And sometimes it can be, I've seen it happen, but that can happen as well. But for the most part, I'm just focusing today's video about third-party visitation rights. So just keep in mind, it is a possible thing to have in Arizona, and it is difficult, but if you have any questions, feel free to comment and I'll be happy to answer, or if you want to give me a call, I'll be happy to talk with you as well. If you like these videos, make sure you subscribe so that you get more in the future, and again, feel free to contact anytime. Thank you.